Thank you. Welcome, owner. That was kind of scary. Actually, WildPackets is a unusual company in that we never had any venture capital. We're organically grown, local products only. Just like something you buy at Whole Foods. Yeah, So, we started in 1990. At literally on top of my garage. And, I was one of the first developers of EtherPeek. My background is networking. I'm a long-term networking guy, maybe, not as connected technically as I was at one time. Today we're connected throughout the US, EMEA, APAC, and, customers span really the full spectrum of every vertical. Everybody uses networking, so of course, that's the opportunity for us. EtherPeek, very popular product. We then went to AeroPeek for the wired side, and then OmniPeek combined both of those things in a single platform. And our forte has always been around protocol analysis, deep packet inspection, troubleshooting. You find and fix. So here's a little bit about history. It's hard to. I tried to focus on what the wireless innovations were that we've come up with through the time. Sort of started in 2001. Cisco acquired a company called Aeronet, and that was really the first wireless Ethernet that was sort of in a popular thing. We produced a protocol analyzer that used the Aeronet chipset, and then as more people entered the market, we addressed everything that we could. So in particular, we really like to be in a leadership position. So when 802.11n standard was created, we participated in trying to help with that standard. And then, as you know, we're the first to have AC out there and capture AC. Part of this also on the wired side is that we have also worked to provide more VoIP stuff. And of course, there's a good crossover into the Vo-Fi stuff that is going on now. So this is sort of, maybe sets the stage a little bit of what the motivation inside the company is. The increasing number of applications in the business environment, on the network creates a need to keep everything running and a high amount of dependency in corporations. Of course, all you guys know that. But as a business opportunity, what we see is that as networks change and the technology improves, it creates a disruption in how things are deployed, in the systems inside of the companies. And so in that disruption is really the need for products like OmniPeek that go out and tell you what's going on and tell you how to fix it and stuff like that. So we try to make that as easy as possible. So that's really, what our product goals sort of center around, is we try to incorporate the newest and best technology. We try to provide it in a way that's very intuitive, easy to use, and we really focus a lot on real-time type of things so that you can rapidly identify issues and resolve them as opposed to having to dig through large packet files after the fact. There's also, especially on the wired side, but now of course with AC too, a lot of challenges around the velocity of packets that are on the network and trying to keep up and do those things. So, a main thrust that we have is to deliver high performance and, be very reliable in those high performance demanding environments. And so, this is really, talks about some of the verticals that we have. It's really the full spectrum. We've sold to every type of company, through the years. Particularly noteworthy is Boeing, Chrysler, Cisco, Comcast, EDS, Hewlett-Packard, Microsoft, Motorola, Nationwide, Siemens, Qualcomm. And in addition, we try to form technology partnerships with everybody who comes out with new products or is sort of key in the networking appliance or networking field. And so, strategic partners include, Cisco, Aruba, Maru, Ubiquity, AeroHive, Ruckus, Atheros, Intel, NetOptics, Gigamon, VSSnet, at least before they were bought by Danaher, Anui, and Appcon. So, we really try to work with everybody, try to make our products easy to use with those products. And since I know you all really want to see the products and do the bits and bytes, that's all I have to say. So thank you.
As Tim mentioned, we've been doing protocol analysis since 1990. We've grown a long way since protocol analysis. We don't do only protocol analysis anymore. It's a lot of distributed, wired and wireless network analysis, but we have very strong roots in protocol analysis, again, since 1990. As you also mentioned, wireless analysis since 2001, since almost the inception of 802.11, and the early, spread spectrum kind of technologies that were out there. Lots of firsts in the industry. We're really, some of the key things that we're proud of, we're really used by a lot of the 802.11 chipset vendors. We're used by a lot of the OEMs themselves, both in field service and in their technical assistance centers. We're part of the 802.11n test bed, so we're used with the Wi-Fi Alliance and certified test labs. So, we really are used in a lot of trusted environments, and it's very good for us because it also brings a lot of feedback back to us on the product. These are especially things like the tax centers and used by the OEMs. They push the product and they challenge it, and it's great because we get that feedback and then we're able to integrate that back in. And of course, the UI and the workflow is one of the things that we're known for within OmniPeek. Whether somebody's doing wired analysis or wireless analysis, our UI and our workflow is really second to none. And then our expert analysis, the ability to look for network trouble, faults, etc., in the background is also very key in terms of why people come to us. And what is it about wireless LAN specifically? Well, we were really the first to support AC in a broad way, and we're going to talk about that and demonstrate that today. We really have a very comprehensive voice over Wi-Fi. This kind of ties in together with our roaming analysis and other things. It's inherent in the product because we also do have a very strong voice over IP offering on the wired side, and that just kind of plays right into Vo-Fi on the wireless side. We have strong support for doing remote captures from enterprise APs. I'm going to talk more about that when we do the demo. And I know there's a debate, and I think even debate in the room about whether capturing remotely from APs and sensors is the right thing over having a portable capability. So a lot of Twitter traffic about this, I think yesterday. We're open to both, and that's the key message. But we do think there's certainly a use for capturing from remotely from APs. People can also, take what we do and turn it into 24/7 analysis. So, a lot of what we're going to talk about here today is really using OmniPeek in a portable kind of way. We're going to be using USB connected adapters. We're not really connecting to access points, but we have customers who take our wired appliances, put them out there remotely on the network, then use the wired appliances to connect to access points and bring that data into the wired appliance with a lot of disk space, 24/7, so they can do kind of wireless forensics.
What's the status of capturing AC traffic from an enterprise AP?
So from it, I can talk about that now. I was going to talk about that later, but I'm more than happy to talk about that now. So from an enterprise AP, we don't have one yet, is basically the short of that answer. We're waiting for an access point that can actually be put into promiscuous mode. So we were hoping when Cisco first came out with the module for the 3600s that we'd be able to work with that. It doesn't go into promiscuous modes, so we can't do that. Then Aruba made their announcement, and unfortunately the same answer back doesn't go into promiscuous mode. We're now working with trying to figure out what we can do with Maru and others to see if their access points will go into promiscuous mode. But since a lot of these are just now being announced, it's a little bit difficult with Maru. They're on a very limited distribution right now of the APs, so we're waiting to be able to get access so that we can try and work with that. I'm told it does go into promiscuous mode. We need to get the hardware and test with that.
And is that a limitation of the infrastructure manufacturer, or is that a limitation of the chipsets, or
I wouldn't. Yeah, it's chipset, and I wouldn't. It's not so much that it's a designed limitation in some ways in the chipset. It's just that the chipset, the manufacturer the chipset underneath, that vendor was not open to putting it into promiscuous mode. They have some modes of their own and some supported drivers of their own that if you use a driver from them with some specific hardware, you can actually capture from it, but they don't open it up to promiscuous mode for generic wireless LAN analysis tools like ours. And it's disappointing to us as well, but we'll get there because it's all going to open up, but it's taking a little bit of time. Yeah, and I've been speaking to some of the product managers there, so like I said, I'm just waiting to get an access point from them, but it's probably going to be 6 weeks in that kind of range before they have inventory that they can share with us. One other neat little feature, I don't think we're going to demo it today, we could, but we have a little thing we call OmniPeek Remote Assistant that allows packet capture from non-technical users. Actually, one of the large wireless OEMs, and wired OEMs, networking OEMs, uses it in their technical assistance center. They're able to send out this little executable to users, and the user doesn't even need to install anything. They just accept the zip file, double-click on the executable, and the executable will, without any additional configuration at all, be able to collect from wired adapters, and if they have a supported wireless adapter, it would also just collect from the wireless adapters as well. Just click start, click stop, send packets back to the technical assistance center, and they can immediately start analyzing those packets in OmniPeek without having to send somebody on site. So pretty convenient for those guys. And cost effective because OmniPeek, we're going to show mostly wireless today, but it's a wired and wireless analysis tool. So if you've got wired networks as well, or you're having an issue that's layer 3 or above, maybe it's an application-oriented issue, odds are it may not be on the wireless side. The kind of protocol analysis we're going to look at today may not be what you need. You may be needing to look on the wired side of that access point and looking at maybe the authentication chain, seeing if you're getting all the way back to the authentication server, or maybe looking at the applications themselves, measuring latency, doing those kinds of things, which we can do on the wired side. And of course the UI. We always come back to the UI. So one slide away. What's different since the last time you guys were here? It's been a year. The AC support is different, especially with the collection side with the USB adapter, which we're going to go through. We have added our capabilities to collecting from the remote APs, mostly in the area of support for remote PCAP. So in the past, we had supported remote AP captures with our custom remote adapters. So we had to have a relationship with Cisco, Aruba, and Maru, for example, were the ones that we had, and we had to do some development together. Now with remote PCAP, as long as the access point is built using some of the using the PCAP libraries, and as long as they expose the ability to start the remote PCAP daemon or have it running, then we can make a connection to those and collect directly from those access points. And I can show you real briefly. When we do the demo, I'll show you how easy that is to do. We've made some changes to the roaming analysis, enhanced that a little bit as well. That's becoming more of an issue as people become more mobile. And we've added some new views inside of one of our dashboards called Compass for wireless, and we're going to definitely spend a little bit of time looking at that.